Let me show you a bit more about find a function that we have predefined in MongoDB, and I will use it together with some basic comparison operators like greater than, less than, or equal. So this is what we should learn for the time being. Is not too complicated and is going to help us, of course, but is not mandatory to know them at this moment. I repeat, because anyhow when I'm going to make all the operations with PHP, I'm going to re-explain, of course not as I'm doing it now, but I'm going to explain you what that code is doing. So let's try and retrieve one of the objects, and I'm naming them objects because in fact these documents are behaving in some situations just like objects, okay? And you are going to hear me a lot telling them objects or documents, but I'm trying to use only documents as their naming convention for this. Let's try to retrieve one of the objects, and to do that we are already using test, so db is the local database which is test. Now let's go to collection 2 which is having these documents, and find. And now let's say that we want to find all the objects that have a field, let's say second, which is greater than 2, and if we choose that, it should retrieve this last object that you are seeing now, or if it is easier you can go and identify it in compass, is the last one as I'm having here at the bottom, this one. And let's go to our command line, and in order to find it, open a curly braces, and inside we have to mention the field that should contain that value. So we are searching, so select all from test where this field, okay, this second field that you can see here at the top, okay, when this second field column is having the value of 3, is having a value greater than 2, we said, okay, we are using greater than at this moment. So to use that, instead of giving it the value of 2, that means equals 2, so we have none. And let's try this. Okay, you can see we have no other document that has second s equal to 2, and that we are here, this is the equal operator. Let's try it with 3, and we have this one, and should retrieve, and is retrieving correctly. Okay, now let's try and retrieve with the greater than operator, and not to repeat and to write again, you can use the top arrow, and you are retrieving the last command that you gave to the server. And now, as I said, instead of writing 3, which means has the value of 3, so it's equal to 3, you have to open again a curly braces, and inside here with the $sign, just like you name a variable in PHP, you put GT, which means greater than. But this is the convention, you have to name it with $sign GT, and now the value that should be greater than 2. So what we wrote here, find from collection 2 all the documents that have a second, a field named second, so that contain this field. It doesn't matter if they have other 100 fields or just this one, it really doesn't matter. And this field should have a value greater than 2. Enter, and you can see it found it. Now let's make the same thing, but this time with less than. Is the same, just instead of G you write L, which means less than. If we are entering now, is going to find nothing because we have none of them, but let's make it less than 4, and that should retrieve this document with second field as 3. Okay, so it's retrieving. So we just learned how to make a query with basic comparison operators like greater than, less than, and equal. And for equal you have another syntax I will show you just in a moment. You can write it just like greater than or less than, but you have to put here EQ. So this is equal, or you can write it just like we wrote it in the first interrogation. Okay, so let's put equal to 3 because it has to be equal to this value, and it's retrieving correctly. So these are the three comparison operators: equal, greater than, and less than, and we just know how to deal with them. It's nothing complicated. Of course you can make interrogations with compass. You can drop down these options field. You have a filter. This means that is filtering. You can see you have some placeholders. You have to write the field and the value that you are searching for, and then hit find. So let's do that with compass. Of course is a lot simpler, but in some situations compass is limited. So if you want complex queries, you have to do them throughout your command line. But now let's search something like let's say column, all documents that have column 1 field that is equal to 1, 2, 3, let's say. So here field is going to be column, sorry for that, right here, column you can see it's pre-filling for you, column 1, column, and after that 1, 2, 3 as value. Okay, inside these curly braces. And now hit find, and you can see it's showing you just this document. You can refresh and it's still showing the same document, and if you are hitting reset, it's going to reset the search that you just did, and it's showing all the documents from the database. Very nice.